Welcome, everybody, to another special edition podcast from the ATC Network right here on YouTube. Make sure that if you like this show, that you hit the like button and you subscribe to the channel. And that way, if you hit the bell, you'll get notifications every time we have new shows. But as you know, on the ATC Network, and especially on our special edition podcast, we like to highlight new things, definitely talking about recovery, addiction, mental health issues, all of those things. And we've got a great show for you guys today. Two people, one guy I've known for a little bit, another guy I just met, but these guys are doing good work out there. It's Jason Blasi and Eric DeArmas.
Yes, sir.
Did I say it right?
Yeah, absolutely
DeArmas?
Correct.
And Blasi, right?
Yes.
Right? Okay. I got it right. Everybody should just change their name to Jones and Smith, and I wouldn't have to worry about this shit. Okay, so why these guys are here today is both of these guys, first of all, first responders. You guys are both firefighters. How long have you been in the firefighting, Jason?
I've been a fireman for 23 years now with Miami-Dade County.
23 years.
Working on my 23rd year, yes.
Well, still active.
Still active.
Okay. Eric?
Still active on my 18th year with the City of Miami Fire Rescue.
Okay, so there's a difference between Miami-Dade and Miami City.
Yes, so the City of Miami, fire trucks are red, like fire trucks should be.
Here we go.
There's
here we go.
We actually like to go inside. There's a fire. We go in. We don't surround it.
We're not talking.
We're doing fast.
Today.
Oh, okay, that's right.
I take it there's always that fun thing.
It's
with departments.
they bring what when you get on, especially in the city, they just beat it in your head. It's you against the county. You're like, oh, you get in this. During the boot camp part of it, they just really beat it in your head. And then you're after a while, you're like, slow down.
Then you find out that all that stuff is a lie.
All right, so wait a minute. What color are your trucks, Jason?
Our trucks are high visibility green, lime green.
Okay. All right. I know how he put high visibility in there like it's
made it.
It's lime green.
I've never heard it like that. That's a great way to put it.
No, that's good. High visibility green. Not blend into the background red like
right.
You have, right?
So the City of Miami borders right along the Miami-Dade County.
Yep.
Right.
And we literally, our territories butt up against each other in many parts of the county's territory in the city. So
okay,
we work hand in hand, sometimes on bigger assignments. And
well, I imagine things like we had a surf side. It's all hands on deck.
100%.
There is no. I mean, you guys goof around about this rivalry thing, but when it comes to doing the job, whoever's there, you guys are brothers.
I was at Surfside for 20 days, and
Thank you.
we worked very closely with the county. We worked with actually many other municipalities inside Dade County, putting aside all that joking around, when it came down to really working, everybody's got together and got the job done.
I mean, those are those moments where I know Broward and Palm and everybody was like, whatever you guys need, we're there for you.
Absolutely.
Like I said, you guys goof around, but at the end of the day, the brotherhood is everybody.
100%.
And brother and sisterhood, we got to say sisterhood now.
So that brings up something. The Phoenix group is under the Brotherhood Initiative.
Okay.
The Miami-Dade County Union. We started out under their initiative. That's how the four founding members found each other.
Well, let's talk about this for a second. We're going to jump right in because that's kind of what we're here to talk about. Although your service, and again, I can't thank you guys enough for what you do. With first responders, all of you guys. I mean, fire, police, military, doctors and nurses who became frontline first responders during the COVID crisis. I mean, so many. So you guys, you're here because you're part of the fire service and first responders, and of course at ATC and our nonprofit, One Brother, One Sister, we're dedicated to first responders, especially in the fire service. So it's great to have you here for that. But the Phoenix group is really what I wanted to talk about today, because this is about you guys kind of going into even more service in what you're doing. So before I let the cat out of the bag, if you could explain to me, like in layman's terms, what is the Phoenix group, or how did it start, and what is it for?
Phoenix Group is simply a group of men and women that wear the uniform, wear the badge, that come together and have honest discussions about alcohol and drugs and how it affects their lives and how we live lives without alcohol and drugs. And it's I find it extremely helpful and hopeful. And it's brought me together with a great guy like this.
That's right.
And many others.
Now, being one of the ones who helped found this group, There being a founder. So you can see it from that. Now, Eric, you joined the group after it was founded. So do you see it in the same light as he described it? Is that a good description, or do you see it differently?
I went to a treatment center that was from our International Association of Firefighters, right? It's in Washington, D.C. It's a center of excellence.
Mm-hmm.
And it's specifically for firefighters there. And, you had your workshops and your one-on-one with your counselor, and you had to go to these different things throughout the day, like any treatment center would. Where I found the most recovery, the most influential part was when we tabletopped and had some cigars outside in front of the little house that we were staying at. And something happened there when I said, wow, when I sit with the therapeutic value of one alike is without, is what helped me really want to pursue this. Okay, when I got back home, I said, man, I would love, and I know that there was a lot of addicts, okay? And addiction does not discriminate, okay? It could be doctors, lawyers, guess what? It's even firemen, it's first responders, okay? Yeah. And I said, well, I don't have to feel like I'm different. I do not want to have that feeling of indifference. So, when I met, what helped even more after sharing the same mentality with other addicts and in the rooms and whatever I do for my treatment, I said, wow, what better way to solidify my recovery is to be around other firemen. And I was searching for this. One thing I'm searching, I was trying to start in my department something very similar to what they're doing without even knowing that they existed. And I was having a lot of trouble. I was having workshops at my home. I was having workshops in our union hall that I would get this little spot to do it with. And I just couldn't keep it together. I found them through a mutual friend, okay, that said, hey, there's this group of firemen that are doing this. And I said, you got to be kidding me. When I went to my first meeting, it was everything exactly what I've been looking for. I haven't turned my back since. And I've been going. So it's really helped me.
So I can add to that, addiction and alcoholism, it almost took this career away from me, right? And if I had somebody that I could have shared the things that I was going through, it would have made a difference, and I got to thinking with the help of another friend in the group that how many people in the 23 years that I've been on, or at that time it was the 21 and a half years that I had been on, how many people had lost a job or died due to alcoholism and addiction in our department. Right. We stopped counting at 30. Okay. Right. When I got to 30 people, 30 names, 30 people that lost a job or died due to alcohol and drug abuse issues, it just became so evident that, man, we've got a crisis on our hands. And I started thinking about people that signed that last chance agreement like I did, where one more mess up, one dirty random test, one bad day at work, and somebody sends me down for a drug test, and I come up positive, it's all over. If I get pulled over and don't blow, I'm fired. If I get pulled over and blow hot, I'm fired. If I have any kind of domestic incidents at my house and my wife says that I touched her and I go down and have a felony charge, I'm done. With that kind of thing hanging over my head and the disease of alcoholism running through my body, I need people to share with.
Yes.
And this group gives me that. People that do exactly what I do, feel exactly the way that I feel, and share the same common bond that we're having issues with alcohol and drugs. And it's extremely powerful and extremely hope inspiring.
Now, you guys aren't saying, and I don't want people to misunderstand, you're not saying that you're different than other people or special, but you live in a different circumstance when you're doing a job of a firefighter where the stress levels are different than a normal job, where, even almost the persona you have to put on to be a firefighter creates that it's not the superhero mentality, but you're the ones who have to walk into the danger and all that stuff. So you guys end up with more trauma and more stress and more problems than a lot of people do when you're working in a bank or something. Unless your bank is getting robbed every other day, you don't understand those kind of things. So how important is it to talk to somebody who's been through similar life experiences or work experiences? Does that make a big difference in how you guys communicate?
You know, anybody that's in this service, in this profession can attest to that. You know, we work 24 hours a day. We live with each other. It becomes a way of life. Mm-hmm. Okay. This profession, I can barely remember how I even got into it. I wasn't the kid chasing a little fire truck. Oh man, I had this great story. I got into it through a suggestion of a buddy, right? But when I found it, something happened in there where it just aligned with my personality and my way of life. It was like it was meant to be for me. It becomes a way of life. It's definitely there's a strong connection with your brothers and sisters in the fire service, okay? And it's just that. You think about it, we share something, okay? We're usually a part of people's worst day of their life, constantly on a regular basis. When you are around that much trauma and you have mitigated a situation or you've been through a dangerous situation with them, it creates this bond. And within this bond becomes a family. And what do? So now in the family, everybody has had the messed up guy in the family, right? Oh, I know the uncle and he. So, you know, either A, we try to help each other out. I'm not going to, you know, the thought process was I'm not just going to run you into the management and say, hey, this guy's using. No, we protect each other. Now that protection, here's where we find the conundrum or the difficulty in this profession is how do we come out with this? In that profession, we don't want to rat a guy out or take him in and he gets in trouble. So I like to think of myself as a beacon, as someone that, listen, you can come to me. And the guys in my department, pretty small department, they already know everything that happened to me anyway. Okay. Right. So you know what? I ain't trying to hide it. I'm not trying to say, you know, oh no, I don't. Come to me. I'm someone that they can talk to, because if they can't come to me, they don't want to go up to talk to the management. So I find us as being kind of like a liaison, like, hey brother, come here. Let's just sit down, have a normal conversation, you know, take off the badges and the shirt and just be two people talking with each other and, you know, working in the profession. So I think that creates a lot of hope. I was dying for something like that when I was trying to get out of my addiction. I just did not want to share it because I was terrified. I didn't have a group of guys that had been through something that say, hey, it's going to be all right, brother. I'm going to walk you through this process.
I imagine not sharing it. I mean, the first thought is I don't want to lose my seat on the truck.
100%.
I mean, and, you know, I should man up and handle this. I'll figure it out or something.
That's exactly it.
And I want to just, it's so important because you made a great point there. I think people don't even understand the fact that you guys can go to a fire where the house goes down, not a life was lost, everything was cool in the gang, but you're still standing outside with a family who just lost everything they owned. Mm-hmm. And that, you absorb that energy. I mean, that takes a toll on you after a while. It's like, for you, it's a good day. Nobody died. We kept it to one building and everything's good. But you're standing next to a whole family that everything they own is gone. Does that affect you?
Yeah, of course. You know, the job that we do, it lends itself to, you know, using substances to celebrate, to medicate, to overcome.
Well, wasn't that the old thing? After a long day, everybody goes to the bar? And that's how you process everything?
Right. I mean, if a guy gets promoted, we're going to the bar. If a guy gets married, we're going to the bar.
Tuesday.
If we had a fire, and everything went well, we're going to the bar.
That's right.
You know, so it's a celebration tool. And then for some people, it becomes way more than that. It becomes a daily grind of getting those substances in your body so that you can deal with reality. And as Eric said, you know, we're a close-knit family. People see guys and gals going down the tubes. We wind up enabling them for a while, possibly, or turning them in. And somewhere in between there, you know, if they could meet someone from the Phoenix group and have that hand extended to them and talk about these issues, you know, how do we process all these traumas and these, you know, the things that you were speaking about, the worst moments of people's lives that we're, you know, we clear one call and we go to the next one and it just gets stored and packed down and packed down and packed down. How do we blow that off? How do we vent that? You know, and that's exactly what the Phoenix group allows us to do. And the hope that we can do it without having to check out. I don't need a day. I don't need a vacation on a daily basis like I used to take. Sometimes on an hourly basis, you know, and
so you're not. I mean, this isn't like in lieu of treatment. It's not like saying if you got a real, I mean, certainly if you're physically ill or something, you call the hospital first, you know, you're not, but some people still, I mean, maybe some people can get sober through a group like this, but you guys also believe that some people need treatment and some people, so you guys will support whatever anybody needs, right?
100%. And you know what? It's a great path because maybe that guy doesn't know what he needs to do. He knows he's got a problem. Maybe his family, a lot of times family members will reach out to you. Hey, you know, they're really the ones that see a lot of it. Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, what do we do? You know, here, let me show you. Here's a path that I went. This is what I did. Here's a treatment center. We're really like an abundance of resources for those kind of things.
Yeah.
Right?
One of the other benefits of the group, or attributes of the group, I should say, is we're forging relationships with treatment centers out, you know, all throughout South Florida. We have forged relationships with detoxes, therapists. We have a member on our group who is a licensed therapist, and he has a network, and we're able to get people in touch with the right people, and we give them that information. You know, the best part is we give them the honest talk that there's a solution to your problem. You're not just stuck where you're at.
Right.
The best thing that you did was come forth and identify that you have issues to handle.
And not everybody wants to go to these strictly firefighter programs. Some people want to get away from all the firefighters and just go be a regular person while they're in treatment. And, you know, I mean, so you to have that much resources and to walk in and talk to a bunch of guys, say, well, this is what I did. What do you think? This is what I did. What do you think? You know, that's got to be really nice for them. And you do not, let's make this clear. You are not part of the fire department. This is not a function of the fire department. This is a totally separate group. You do not report. If somebody comes to you and wants to come to your meeting or talk, I imagine you do like weekly or a couple times a week or something like that.
We meet every Thursday in Miami Springs at 9:30 in the morning.
I would imagine you're also guys, though, if somebody needs help, somebody from your group will go talk to them.
You know, that's a great point he brings up, okay? Because this was also brought up when I was trying to start my group in the city was, hey, you know, I don't want to be in there and then someone's going to get out. And you know, that's a huge fear. And it's a hurdle that we are trying to, you know, overcome. You know, listen, I know for myself, Jason, the other members in the group, 100% is everything confidential in there. That does not leave. Matter of fact, that's the place where you leave everything and you're able to go about your day. Mm-hmm. But that's a fear out there. We can't deny that people out there going, I don't know if I want to be a part of that because I don't want my stuff out there. You understand what I'm saying? And that's a hurdle. And I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I
just want to double down on what Eric said.
Please.
The meeting is completely anonymous. All right. What is said there and who's seen there, it all stays there. You know, that's an understood principle behind what we do. Mm-hmm. Because we understand the stigma that people feel and assign to drugs and alcohol. But don't let that stop you from coming to this group because we all identify with the same issues and we respect the anonymity. That's why we created this group. We're not affiliated with the union. We're not affiliated with the department. We are our own separate entity. Yeah. And
this is not one of the 12-step groups or which have been around for a long time and do a lot of great service.
No, it's a support.
But this is very important because I think the anonymity becomes like almost like that. Everybody understands it because you all understand you have a special kind of stigma attached to it because you're a firefighter, because of everything you go through, and because of this culture of, you know.
Now you're hitting it.
You've got a whole culture. You got a whole culture of, we're tougher, we're stronger, we don't show weakness, we're brave. And even at the end of that, all that culture is the way that we decompress is over Bud Light. And, you know.
You said it.
Or Coors Light, depending on which department you're at. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, you guys all understand that. Me, I wouldn't understand how important that is. It's to me, I'd be just like, well, so what? You know, but I'm not a firefighter, so I'm not in there every day. I'm not spending the kind of time with these people that you are. You've got to be a part of that culture, but part of that culture is what's keeping you sick. So how do you deal with all that? Maybe that's too deep for this, but
not at all. And how do we deal with that? by sharing with these guys where we're at. Listen, we're not saying that everything, first of all, we're going to say that this was easy. We didn't say that, that this was great, that, everything just started landing right in place. No, I have to deal with life on life's terms. How do I deal with those pressures of, maybe I'm not part of that fishing group anymore that I used to do, right? A lot of people don't want to be kicked out of that little circle even. Mm-hmm. But you know what? That's the difficult part of it. I come and I share about it. And I get my, I get restored to sanity, so to speak, right? I go, man, and I'm thinking crazy and I'm feeling alone. I go, this beats whatever. If I can't go on that fishing trip with those guys, you know what? That's one of the sacrifices of getting clean, is because that I definitely cannot go back to where I was before. And some of the guys come up to me and they'll be like, oh, so now you think I'm a bad person. And I go, not at all. I go, you do what you got to do. All I know is that when I use, something happens when Eric uses, right? That my life goes down the drain. Mm-hmm. I face some serious consequences, and it took me years to be able to surrender that and be like, you know what? I'm not like that person. I can't. There's something about it that's just different about me that I am still in the process of figuring out. But I know for a fact that I am an addict. I know for a fact that I have a problem, that when I use, I face serious consequences in life, and I was going to lose my job and all things. So for me, it works this way. So the little bit of sacrifice in there, it is difficult, but guess what? I have a group that I can share that with now. I can go to the guys and be like, man, I had a hard day yesterday. The guys all wanted to get together after this fire and something, and I share about that with them. And they give me the input. And I believe that through them is where I find a lot of the therapeutic value. Yeah.
So, to be honest, Scott, it as we all know, it takes a willingness to get started in any of this recovery stuff. So some people find the willingness after they sign that last chance agreement, Some people find the willingness after they've been in the chief's office and had the talk. Some people find the willingness when they see the flyer hanging in the firehouse with some of our phone numbers on it and the directions to the meeting, and then it takes time of being in the meeting and seeing the therapeutic value of another firefighter just telling you how he's going through life without drinking over it, and admitting that the way he was drinking to handle his life as a firefighter, father, mother, sister, brother, it wasn't working for him anymore. And the consequences were mounting up, and they don't want to live that way, and they want to change.
That's right.
Another way that we're reaching people is, we go to officer development classes, we go to rookie classes. I tell my story, what the signs and symptoms were, of me going down the tubes with drugs and alcohol, how I could have been intervened on, and what we can do differently today, and that the resources out there.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things we're trying to do, is get the interventions back into the department where they can do good.
Right. I mean, we're just putting the light on the darkness. Going out there and publicly, telling my story to other firefighters in my department is putting light on the darkness. It takes the stigma off. It puts a real face on it, and it's powerful. And some people may, not want to be on board with that, and that's okay. But if we can reach 1, 2, 3 guys and gals that can come to that meeting and stop their cycle of destruction to where they may have to make the ultimate sacrifice with their badge or their life, then we've done our job. And then the guys and gals that come and stick and stay, they have their own message of hope, of restoration back to a life beyond and better than the one that they were living before. And it's all just by being honest about who and what we are and how we handle life.
It seems, obviously, I think it's pretty obvious that you guys are pretty much out, and everybody knows your deal. You said you got a small department, everybody knew you. Yeah, they probably knew more than you did at the time.
Absolutely.
You're like, I
was the last
one. Dude, we got a list here. We got a list.
They told me, they're like, yeah, we pretty much knew this was happening. But again, they didn't know how to deal with it.
Yeah. I did the same thing. I was on TV and radio for years, and when I got sober, I went on the air and I said, listen, I'm getting sober. I just want to tell all my listeners. They start calling and say, we knew you were drunk. Why do you think we were listening? We want to see what you would do next.
And Eric just said something. They didn't know how to deal with it. We get phone calls from people. Hey, I got this guy. I got this girl.
Right.
How do I deal with it?
Yeah.
And we just make suggestions that were helpful for us. You know,
But here's
are
the
they
question,
physically
though.
addicted? Get them to a detox. You know, or are they just having issues, you know, that aren't so terribly bad? Have them come to a meeting and talk to us. Give them my phone number.
But here's the question: 20 plus years, 18 plus years, has the perception of addiction and alcoholism and even mental health, trauma and things like that, has it changed over that time? Do you think we're heading in the right direction? Where, you know, you guys could come out, but maybe to a point where people don't have to hide it all? Are we heading in that direction? Has it changed over those years?
I believe so. And that's a great question. I like that you brought that up because it has changed. I mean, look how much light just PTSD has come out with now, right? That's a huge initiative. You know, there's centers, there's programs, there's curriculums built upon that. Okay. And I think we're realizing, a lot of people are realizing that, you know what, with that same, you know, condition or whatever it is, some people believe it leads one to the other, or maybe the using can lead to the PTSD, whatever it is. I think the light is out there on overall because, you know, let's cut it dry. Like, you know, we have a mental disease, right? I have a disease of addiction. Okay. And it's a mental disease. And you know what? I think it's out there now. People are talking about it more. I think we're on the cusp of the change. You know, a lot when we came on, and from years ago, it was very hidden. Even PTSD was, hey, suck it up. You know, don't talk about it. You know, and guys didn't really know how to vent that out. How do they vent that out? Maybe they just didn't want to feel what they were feeling they were using. And that led to a substance or a drinking problem. You know, so now a guy can be like, hey, man, you know what? Just like Jason said, you know what? I'm using way too much. I'm starting to face some consequences. He could bring it out in the open. I think we're in the cusp right now. We're in a time, I feel personally, that these things are all starting to come out to light. And so we are, yes, to answer your question, I believe we're at a turning point with all this.
Absolutely. I mean, I get to present about alcoholism and drug addiction on Mental Health Day in our department. So the fact that we have a Mental Health Day is showing that we're moving in the right direction.
Right.
You know, and officers that go through officer development, they have a mental health day and they hear it. Rookies that go through the academy have a mental health day and they hear about PTSD, depression, suicide, alcoholism and addiction. So absolutely, you know, the fact that we could say that a line of duty death has 3 suicides to every line of duty death. So if we lose an average of 50 firemen a year to line of duty deaths, we're losing 150 to suicide.
Yeah.
You know, and those statistics don't lie. You know, the thing that is changing and needs to change is when we have a line of duty death, you have a NIOSH report about this wide that takes a year or two to compile about what went wrong on that call that led to somebody dying.
Right.
You know, but when a guy goes down the tubes and kills himself, you know, on the job, it's just a flash in the pan. It's a talk at the coffee table.
Right.
You know, we don't really get into the inner workings of that. We are in the beginnings of making a difference with that, as I just stated with the mental health day and stuff. But think about that for a second. You know, like we got this huge report and then someone, you know, winds up dying, overdoses, you know, commits suicide, or just gets fired. And I mean, imagine after getting fired, trying to pick up after losing the greatest job that you could ever have, you know, to pick up and move on.
But for every one of those people, correct me if I'm wrong, but for every one of those people, there was at least a handful of people that knew something wasn't right.
Exactly.
But they didn't know what to do. Or they were afraid of, no, I'm not a snitch. I'm not going to rap. Right. But you know what? If saving, you know, you guys have each other's back when you walk into flames. You should have each other's back when you're sitting back at the department and one guy's going down in flames on the inside.
Right.
They teach lifeguards that when you go to save somebody, there's a certain point when they're going to take a swing at you. They're drowning, they're dying, and you reach to help them, and they're going to take a swing at you. Sometimes people are going to get resentful that you're trying to save them.
Right.
Does that mean you don't do it?
Right.
Of course you do.
So I have something to say about that.
Hopefully that's changing too. Some of those attitudes about, I can't listen, Bob, I know you're going to be mad at me, but you are going to a path where I don't want to pick up the phone and find out you're dead tomorrow.
Some people need that tough talk. You were talking about the rescue. You go out on a buoy rescue as a lifeguard, you may have to stick that buoy right in their chest to get their attention that, hey, I'm not the thing that you're going to hold on to. This is.
Right.
Some people need that tough talk. Some people need that tough talk. And just to circle back around about how the word's getting out there. It is getting out there. One person at a time is encountering us on the job or as we present in these mental health days. We're having a mental health fair at our department. They just had a big walk for heroes where we had a tent set up and people were getting flyers. It's slowly getting out there, and you were saying the what to do when someone's showing the signs. Slowly but surely, people are learning what to do, and people that are watching this podcast are going to have an idea what to do. The first thing that you do is put your hand out and ask somebody, "How you doing? What's going on with you?" Now, if that has to be firm because you've got a good relationship with this person, or they're just swinging through your station on that shift, but you recognize it.
Yeah.
It's that human interaction. That vulnerability that we have been taught that you can't show. Well, I'm here to report that that's a total lie. You can show it.
Yeah.
And it's more powerful than anything that I've learned in my career is to just put myself out there and be honest and open. And the magic that comes from that is incredible.
100%. And you know what? I was definitely one of the heavy hitters in my job. Mm-hmm. I got stories with everybody in there. So when they see that, they go, well, this guy ain't no, lightweight. You know what I'm saying? We've used with a lot of, we've used with him and a lot of scenarios like, wow, man, maybe he's on to something here. So sometimes that, in a weird way, that credibility holds a lot of weight, right? Holds a lot of weight when the guy's going, you know what? I know that guy. I know his story. And I can't emphasize the fact that, 99.9% of the fears that I had, okay, if there's one thing I could tell a guy was that I had a ton of fears about even getting clean and then how was I going to be accepted back at work? And I can attest, and this is what I tell everybody, that 99.9% of the fears that I had, all were false. And they were just that.
Right.
And it was not, and people were actually going, hey, I'm so happy that you did this. So if there's a member out there or anybody's like, you know what, I don't know what they're going to say. They respect, when that guy goes down, they respect that guy when he gets back up. What is he going to do when he gets back up? Right? They respect that. And the brothers will hug you and they'll go, man, keep it going, man. And then it's a weird thing. They even kind of look out for you. They go, oh, hey, listen, we're going to this thing. I don't know if you want to go.
Yeah.
And they'll go, hey, I understand if you don't want to go. I know that this was like kind of your thing. And I sometimes I'll just give a guy a hug. I'm like, I love you, man. Thank you, bro.
So we go overboard a little bit. It's like, all right, when you come to my house, don't go down 3rd Street because there's a bar there. Make sure you go somewhere. No, it's like, thank you so much.
On Noche Buena, on Christmas Eve, what's the little milk
the little
drink?
Cokie.
Okay, so that was going around at Christmas time in my station, and they're like, none for Jason.
Right.
And I don't get offended by that.
I know.
It's exactly what you said.
It's funny.
The way I've had more people say, you know what, Blasey, the fact that you got up and kept marching is what I think about. Because in our process of recovery, I've had to make amends to guys that I hurt along the way, guys that saw me at my lowest point. Mm-hmm. My downfall was very public. It was a horrible day on the job. But those same guys that were there, they shake my hand and pat me on the back, and they're so glad that they see me where I'm at now. And if there's any way they could push another guy or girl that's going down that path into my path, they're going to do it.
See, and that's brilliant. And I think, is that one of the mantras, I guess you'd say, of the Phoenix Group, is that, we are not just here helping ourselves, but we need to be open to helping anybody who needs help. I mean, is that something that you guys believe in with Phoenix Group?
Yeah. I mean, we say, we talk a lot about on our job about tradition and brotherhood.
Okay.
And it's a tradition of helping each other. We would build each other's houses after Hurricane Andrew. I hear the old timers talk about.
Yeah.
Well, we do the same thing here. By helping each other. Mental health is on the forefront of issues. That is the storm that's coming across South Florida that we need to, build each other's mental health platforms up.
Absolutely.
That's what we do. So yes,
Gentlemen out there right now, there might be a handful of people, maybe one, somebody who's sitting there knowing they've got an issue, knowing that they're hiding it, but they can't hide it that much longer, but afraid to come forward, afraid to ask for help. They don't want to lose their seat not in truck, I guess is how it's said, but they don't want to lose their position. They don't want to be humiliated, but they know they're towards the end. What do you want to say to them right now? And also add into there, is there life afterwards? I mean, I know it's not easy. Are you better firefighters today? Are you better people today because of what you went through?
Go ahead.
All right. So,
so that's a double. What do you say to someone who's thinking about it?
We're going to roll right into the second episode here.
Yeah. So, and as you can see by our body language, we're going to face 100%. I cannot even in some words describe how much, how better on the job I've gotten because of this. Okay. I used to be someone that was unreliable, someone that couldn't be trusted if I was going to even come to work or not. Okay. No, don't ask Eric for this. I've been, because I've gotten clean, I've been given responsibility. I'm be able to run my own station. I've been asked now to teach certain initiatives inside the department. Everything about my life has gotten so much better. Okay. And I can, if there's one thing that I can really, now I'm not saying that life's not going to show up because it has for me many times, but you know what? I've been able to get through that hurdle without using it. Okay. I can be someone that's trusted. These were all these attributes that I was not before. My brothers embrace me. Everybody's just say, great job, man. Keep it going. They root for you, so there's definitely there's definitely a better life, just physically going to work in the morning. I'm able to function a lot better. My health has gotten a lot better. We face a lot of health issues, even in our job, put using into the mix there. I mean, we're just chopping down years, so
it's probably a dumb question, but are you happy?
I am.
Energy is so like
I am 100% happy. Right. I am happy. And even when I at my worst day, my biggest problem is today is like, the milk is about to expire. I should probably get a new card. But we use that as an analogy. It was like my worst problems back in the day were really serious. I mean, I was hanging on to a home that I hadn't paid a mortgage in 9 months. I was hanging on to a job by a fingernail where I was just about to get fired. I was going to throw all this away. I was losing relationships in my job, and people were turning they were terrified of me. But today I got all those things back. Why? Because I make better decisions today in how to live my life. And how do I do that? Right? One major component is the Phoenix group. And I can come and share about all these things without being judged, without someone going, oh my God, I don't want to hear that. This is a no judgment zone. We go, oh yeah, I know exactly what that feels like, my brother. Really? We've got to take the uniqueness out. If people think I'm so different, or or I'm really smart, I can figure this out. And once you let go that this is not an intellectual thing, that you're not going to figure this out, and you just kind of surrender and let the spirit of the group, there's something really magical that happens when I leave there. I go, man, I feel a lot better. What is that? And once you surrender to that and let that happen, I mean, the benefits are endless,
Scott, to answer your question, what would I say to that brother or sister is you are not alone. You are not alone. And you do not have to do this by yourself. You are not going to figure it out. I could echo everything that Eric just said. My work production is way better. My attitude is so much better. I am reliable. I do have a passion for the job. I do care about my brother and sister firefighter and how their day's going and what's happening with them. It's not just this surface relationship that, we just get together on calls, and make it happen. I'm living a life beyond my wildest dreams. And what does that mean? That means that, I accept life on life's terms, that there's good and bad days. I am so grateful for the career that I once thought was a burden in my life. I I appreciate my fellow worker. I appreciate my family. I appreciate my children. I appreciate my extended firefighting family and just firefighters in general more, than I ever have. And that all came from my worst, darkest moment. If you had told me 4.5 years ago that I would be sitting here doing a podcast with you with a city guy, and saying that, that having a support group for alcoholism and drug addiction issues is the greatest thing in my life, I would tell you you're crazy.
100%.
But it absolutely is. And it's available to anybody.
Now, you guys talked a lot about the acceptance that you get from the people in your squads or in your departments and different things. Is the Phoenix group itself, has there been support from the department? Not necessarily, I mean, they're not a part of it, but have they been saying, good job, that's a great thing, glad you're doing it? Have you been getting them?
I think that, mental health is sort of the flavor of the month for some of the higher ups in departments. It's a box to check to make sure that we're doing that. And then there's others that really take it to heart and they understand. And those people are supporting.
Good.
They're definitely supporting and recognizing the need. And though we're not affiliated with them, the other parts of our department that sometimes we reach out to for resources, they are helping them.
Excellent. I think that's important. The information will be on the screen there, and I want people to reach out, ask questions. And you guys are willing to ask questions or answer questions. If somebody wants to just reach out and say, what is this all about?
Absolutely.
Of
100%.
course.
If you told me that was going to be the highlight of my day, I would be like, you're crazy. But man, to get a call from somebody that's going through it, absolutely, we give them the information.
Well, I want to thank you guys again for your service, not only to the community, but now you're of service to the firefighters themselves. And that's really, really cool that you guys can give that back to the fire service, the suicides, the PTSD, everything else. I mean, PTSD, it wasn't that long ago. If you said PTSD, the first thought was Vietnam. That's right. Nobody realized.
Right. Bombs going off,
landmines, dead bodies or something, not cumulative PTSD, which is, like you said, you get back and the call wasn't that bad, but 10 minutes later you're out on another one. So, okay, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. Next thing you know, you got a stack of not that bad, and it becomes, holy shit, that's heavy. And that's a lot to deal with.
Right.
So to have a place where you guys can talk, it's great. Hopefully the culture will start turning where these kind of things are going to be the decompressors, not the local bars and everything else. I appreciate everything you guys do, and thank you a lot for sharing and being honest.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
And thank you for joining us right here. And I want to thank our guests, Jason and Eric, for joining us. The Phoenix Group, make sure you reach out, contact them. If you or somebody you love is suffering from an addiction problem, you can certainly reach out to us at Addiction Training Center at 786-514-0893, and we could certainly point people in the right direction. But for now, I'm Scott Jones, thanking you for joining us on our ATC Network Special Edition podcast. We'll catch you next time.